We're live. Wonderful. Welcome, everyone. My name is Tammy Anderson Ward. I'm the conference producer for the Energy Healing Conference, and today we get to do a speaker spotlight with one of my absolute favorites. Her name is Tomasa Macapinlac, and you guys, she always travels from out of state whenever she speaks and presents and serves at our conferences. And I just have to say, meeting her and having her come to our conferences has been such a blessing for me personally in so many ways. And I know for many of you who've gotten to know her as well. Some of you have been able to study under her care and learn more for yourself and also serving your own clients as well. And we're just so excited. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and read a short introduction. So I know that some of you are kind of just popping on. Stay tuned because you are going to have a really fun time with her tonight. We're going to do a short introduction here, and then we'll bring her on. So 28 years ago, Tomasa Macapinlac underwent a profound health transformation, prompting her transition from a high-tech career to the realm of Asian healing arts. In 2006, she secured a national Diplomat of Asian Bodywork therapy certification, fusing Chinese medicine and Jin Shin Jyutsu to birth her unique, vibrant energy flow system. Earning the title the Self-Care Queen and Shaman for the Stars, Tomasa empowers individuals with self-help tools for pain relief and equilibrium, offering an array of options, including classes, workshops, retreats, digital information, products, and her book, 30 Days to a Vibrant, Healthier, Younger You. And today she's going to be talking to us about the cosmic blueprint. And I'm so excited, so grateful to have her here. Thank you so much for being here. Okay, Tomasa, how are you, beautiful?
I'm good. I'm pretty excited. I'm getting ready to come to Utah for 10 days again.
Woo! That is so awesome. Utah is very blessed to have you. Where are you going to be traveling from this time? Is it Arizona?
Yes, so Arizona. I've been here since the spring. And so this is what I call home for now, at least until, I don't know. We'll see. Hurricane and part of Utah is part of my astrocartography. And I'm like, what is going on here with Utah? I had to come home and look it up last time. And it was like, oh, this is part of my astrocartography. So very interesting.
That's so beautiful. I see people talking about astrocartography all the time. Will you briefly explain what that is?
Well, how would you like to live in your own special sacred spot that actually works for you and that could raise your vibration, help you have radiant health and help you be successful, etc. I get it all the time. People ask me, Tomasa, can you do my astrocartography? I started doing astrocartography, I want to say 2020, actually.
Wow.
When the pandemic hit. And part of it was I didn't know anything about it, but my kid, my eldest child, knew a lot about it. And we started doing readings together at the end of 2020. Wow. And one of our dear friends, who now lives in North Carolina, of all places, anyway, she moved from Los Angeles to North Carolina. And she was looking for a place to live there. Part of it was her astrocartography. And so she wanted us to do a reading for her, and we did it. And so I learned how to do astrocartography through my kid.
I love that. My kids teach me so much too. I absolutely love that. It's so beautiful. And Hurricane is absolutely amazing. It's near St. George. And in fact, that's where I was. You're going to laugh at this, but well, I think maybe you won't laugh. Maybe you'll understand. But Hurricane is actually where all my posterity, my kids, my grandkids, my husband, we all gathered together in Hurricane for my birthday this year. We spent 4 or 5 days there in Hurricane, and we're going to be going back there. So we'll be staying there again this week. I've also done another retreat there. So it is absolutely a beautiful place. I think you'll really like it.
Well, on my way back from Utah last time, I stopped in Hurricane. I'm not a city girl. I'm gonna say cities because I'm an empath. So cities are too much energy for me. So my first time coming to Utah, I shouldn't say my first time. Well, this past year, I stopped in St. George and it was rather congested for me. And
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, is everybody talking about St. George? This is too much energy here for me, right? And
Mhm.
so anyway, I was like, oh no, but I knew I could not make that whole entire drive back from Pocatello, Idaho to
Yeah.
Tucson
Yeah.
at the end of September. So
Yep.
I said, where could I stop? And I said, I don't want to stop in St. George, but let's look at Herkin. And by the way, I just learned how to pronounce Herkin, the Utah, right?
Yeah. That's
One of my students of the medicine world said, "Okay, I know you're from California, but we have to teach you how to pronounce Hurricane. It's not hurricane, it's hurricane." And I said, "Oh no."
I love that. That is so funny. Oh my goodness. Yeah. In fact, there's some certain cities like Hooper or Hupper. It depends on who you talk to, hurricane. It depends on who you talk to. So I love that. Well, let's get into a little bit about your story. I want to give you some time to talk a little bit about what led you to do what you do now. I know you're so passionate about it. I've seen you talk many times on it. There might be people that are watching right now that have never ever gotten to know you or never had the opportunity to hear your story. And that's really what the speaker spotlight is all about. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the time over to you. And then also, would you please go ahead and tell us a little bit more information about this link that we have up across the screen as well?
Yes, I will do that. Well, you probably have heard me in your studio talking about teaching a class, probably just this past September on Unlock Your Cosmic Blueprint. And that's what this link is about. I've taught this class many times ago, many years, decades ago, and it wasn't labeled that. It wasn't called that. It actually was just hey, I'm going to teach you this healing modality called Jin Shin Jyutsu. Well, what people don't know about Jin Shin Jyutsu, because it is one of the most, how should I say, secrets out there that helps people in many ways. It was a secret to me many, many years ago, back, well, 20, almost 29 years ago. It was a time when I couldn't get out of bed. I was sick. I was working in the corporate world. I had no idea that I was going to end up doing this. But I remember going to work, dragging myself to work and trying to do my job. And I had a coworker saw me and she said, Tomasa, I know you haven't been feeling well. I know the name of this lady who could probably help you. And she knew I was open to, I don't even like to call it alternative ways anymore, because at this point in time in my life, what I understand is that these are ancient healing modalities. And to me, this is the healing that took place before Western medicine came on board. And it still exists and it's still existing today. And it's a matter of us, the people, to keep it going. It's probably more prevalent in Europe than it is in the United States. The United States does have quite a bit of a following, and even in Japan, where it originates from, it doesn't have the following that it could have. And it comes from the Kojiki Book of Records. But what I really want to share with people is that there's numerology and there's also astrology embedded in this uh, modality. And so it's something I've been practicing for 27 years myself. I left a lucrative career in Silicon Valley to go do this because my career burned me out. And I believe it was a divine intervention that happened, because the truth is that I wouldn't have been introduced to this if I hadn't had the hiccup I had with my health. And it wasn't a really serious health condition, but what it really was, man, if I don't get myself together, I'm going to have chronic fatigue. I had a really bad cold, and my kids were, I want to say 2 and 4 at the time. That was 1996. Yeah. So they were 2 and 4, about to turn 3 and 5 in a couple of months or so. But, managing 2 young children, and probably 2 young children is no big deal to most people in Utah because they have lots of children, right? And so for me, it was a big deal, but I was working a full time job in corporate America and a very demanding job, engineering background, yes, but I was in technical sales. And what that meant was I went in to talk to the engineers. And so not just anybody, not to some buyer, maybe sometimes, but I went in to talk to the engineers about what we had for them. So it really required a lot of my brain work, a lot of my background in engineering, electrical engineering, but also by the same token, it wasn't necessarily the passion that I have today working with hands-on healing and helping people to understand their cosmic blueprint and teaching. I'm actually just really feeling really good because even though I've been doing this 27 years, I have felt like I have found my groove because when I look at my astrology chart, I go, oh, that is the piece to understand how to do this. So the thing about it is, I have a gift for gab, is what my mom would say, because I'm a Gemini. That's what most people would attribute to. But if you were to look at my astrology chart, the third house is about communication and teaching and learning and things of that sort. And I actually have Jupiter in that house. What exactly does that mean? That means that I expand by talking, and I'm a confident speaker. Not everybody's a confident speaker. And so my Jupiter happens to be in Aries. Aries is a very confident sign. They're a risk taker, right? I don't always have to have it all together, a script and all that to speak. I actually love speaking because I know my subject off the top of my head. I can speak to others about it. And so that is actually embedded in my chart. But also, I have things like the sun in the sixth house in Gemini. And so the sixth house is about health. So when I first started studying this modality, what I began to understand is that I'm here to help people with their health. Now, I'm going to tell you that today, what has evolved from all of this is that, yes, I'm here to help people's health, but I also am here to help people evolve and transform. As I have Pluto sitting in my eighth house, that's some markings of a shaman. And I actually have several people who signed up for the wheel who actually, the medicine wheel, that's the shamanic training that I do or facilitate, I'd rather say. Um, that shows that if you have Pluto in the eighth house, it's the markings of a shaman. So I always tell people, you're a shaman. You don't even know it, right? So, those markings are important because, we're here to transform the dark to the light. And so a lot of things I can see and caution people about when I look at their charts is say, oh, this could be an issue in your life. Many times I'll see people who have lower backaches. I can see that in their chart. For me, it was anxiety because I have what we call a stellium in the eighth house, a stellium in Virgo, of all things. And a lot of Virgo energy in my chart, believe it or not, even though I'm a Gemini sun, because my sun is in the sixth house. That's Virgo energy, that house is. And I know I'm saying a lot to people. It might not mean a lot to you, but I think that in the past, what I've done is I've come and I've given people cosmic blueprint readings or cosmic clarity sessions. And that's fun and all. And so, but I think the real heart of healing comes when you can take that chart and use it to achieve your highest potential. And I have chills as I say that to you. When I have chills, it's like, so many people get readings. But the thing I want to caution on, you can get a reading, but if you do nothing about it, then what good is the reading? And maybe you feel like, oh, that resonated with me. But what if you could evolve to something even bigger and greater? Like your success could just come to you, voila, like that, if you followed your cosmic blueprint. And it's not even just about following your cosmic blueprint, but it's also about taking that cosmic blueprint and using it for your greatest good. So this healing modality that I practice called Jin Shin Jyutsu, I actually integrate it with some of the acupressure. It's funny because I'm preparing right now about for a retreat that I'm doing in a few weeks in St. George area. Well, actually, her How did I say that? Hurricane. So I'm actually doing now. It's not actually in Hurricane. I'm actually staying in Hurricane this week, but it's actually in Washington, which is an area of St. George. And so, the interesting thing is I'm preparing for that, and I'm putting together all the flow patterns for each astrological sign. So these seven beautiful folks who are coming will be able to live their cosmic blueprint, will be able to take themselves and self correct and find harmony in their bodies. People have taken Unlock Your Cosmic Blueprint class, and that is what the link is up there for. I know I used to just offer cosmic clarity sessions, but I want you to have the opportunity to take it to the next level rather than just getting a reading. Let's take it to the next level. And what does that mean? That means you being able to use your chart, you being able to use your numerology to elevate yourself. And that's what people have found working with me. I had someone Unlock Your Cosmic Blueprint class who had sciatica going on in their body. When you're out of alignment with your body, you're going to feel it. It's going to appear as pain. It might have disease. And some people want to say, oh, I don't have things like high blood pressure because I take pills for that or take medication. But the truth is that, what if you didn't have to take that medication? And so, what if I could show you what you could do to help yourselves alleviate a lot of the medication? So, one of my long term students, she actually just came back and reviewed Unlock Your Cosmic Blueprint. And she remembered, and one of the things she said is like, this is like having pharmaceutical tools in at your fingertips or even in the palm of your hand, because when she uses it, she finds that she harmonizes her body really quickly, and that can be anything from pain in the body to fixing your sleep patterns. And so she found herself sleeping more, being able to sleep longer, whereas before she wasn't able to do that. She'd wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. And so I do have a case where I helped a student once. I was doing teacher training. I helped a student once who actually could never sleep. She would say she only slept maybe 1 hour to 2 hours a night. Who can operate like that, right? And so I remember having to partner up with her because I was doing teacher training. And I showed her what she needed to do on herself. I of course, worked on her to help her sleep because that's all I could hear from her. It's like, who can operate this way? So I worked on her. And when I came back a couple months later and saw her at the Institute, this is not Jin Shin Jyutsu, but this was the Acupressure Institute. She looked at me and she came up and she hugged me and she said, I have wonderful news. And I'm like, what is that? And she's like, I can actually sleep now. I get at least 6 hours of sleep. That's better than 1 or 2 hours, right? So I kind of digressed there a little bit. So the key is like, how can you be in harmony in your body? But it's not even just harmony in your body, but it's also like, how can you step into your cosmic blueprint? Sure, engineering was on my path, electrical engineering was on my path, but it wasn't where my passion was. And I'll be quite honest about that. I wasn't feeling like I was making a difference in the world. I wasn't feeling fulfilled. And I want to say God knew that, the universe knew that, whatever you want to call this life force or infinite source, whatever. But for me, I remember going to lie on the table for my very first treatment. And when I received that treatment, I saw my whole life flash before me. And I heard, Tomasa, you are on a journey to figure out what you're here in this world to do. And so it's time for you to get back to that path. And I never in my wildest dreams thought that I would be a Jin Shin Jyutsu practitioner. I'm a lot more than that today, but I had to evolve into this integration of who I am and bringing the astrology piece into it, because astrology is embedded in it. But it's like, how can we draw that out of it and understand what's going on with a person? And that's what I did for myself because I found myself doing a lot of Virgo energy flows, which is related to small intestine energy. Small intestine energy is about sorting things out. Think about what it does in the physiology in the body. It sorts out your nutrients. And just as, small intestine energy is about like how can you sort out information that's given to you? If you know anything about Virgo energy, it is about being able to analyze and research. And when you have too much information or too much is going on, you get overwhelmed. And the left shoulder is the one that actually goes up when the small intestine energy is out of whack. And so I found myself doing a lot of flows to help my anxiety. And pretty soon I was in such denial about it that I remember coming back and looking at it and going, whoa, this is deep. When I looked at my chart and went, Tomasa, do you realize you've been doing the small intestine energy flowing yourself? It's related to Virgo energy. You have 3 planets in Virgo and your sun is in the 6th house. This is so much Virgo energy. And that can actually bungle up people. If you got anxiety, it's hard to be in harmony. And so I found myself just calming down. And then I remember that it's a beautiful thing when you can do that.
This is so beautiful to hear, this story. It's a little bit different than how I've heard it before, and I know that there's a lot of people who follow the Energy Healing Conference page who've been very interested in astrology, but I feel like if they're just looking at astrology, they're not getting all of these other pieces. Would you mind answering a little bit to that? Maybe who people who are studying the astrology, but they don't know about this other stuff. Like, can you share with us how this Unlock Your Cosmic Blueprint online class could maybe help them with that?
Well, first of all, I do have a module that is specifically about astrology. Actually, it's 2 modules, to be honest. But, first of all, we start out with numerology because here's the thing, the day you were born has a lot to do with how you show up here in this world. And so what's happening is the birth date has numerology associated with it, and that numerology tells you what your life path is, and then your name you were given when you were born. That has a destiny number assigned to it. When we look at the alphanumeric thing and calculate it, we look at the destiny number. How are you to do your life path? That will tell it all. I share that usually in the presentations that I give, specifically mine, and then I'll give examples, and we look at them, we have fun with it. And then so astrology actually has a lot to do with, there's different people might have heard of medical astrology. So there's different things that happen with different people, like, the lungs. I would think they'd be associated with Gemini. The lungs are actually associated with Aries energy, believe it or not. And then large intestine, I actually have 2 planets in Taurus, and the Taurus energy has a lot to do with large intestine. Think about these things. It is about being able to let go. That's what large intestine is about. That's what lung energy is about. And so, what Taurans have a hard time letting go of things. They actually accumulate a lot of things they hoard. I laugh about that because there's a client of mine who I've house sat for, and if you go around, she's an elderly lady. If you go around to her house, you go, what is all this? Why do you need all this, right? So, and you don't necessarily have to be a Taurus sun to have that happen. Do I hoard things? I probably do unconsciously. I think about all my papers. I have lots of papers, and my kid just looks at me like, what are you doing, mom? Like, right. And so, but I have had a large intestine issue come up in my life where I had a bleeding colon. And we can blame it on the physical world. Oh, it's something I ate. But I wouldn't be susceptible to that if I didn't have all this taurian energy in my chart. And so I think that what your chart will reveal to you is that you might have susceptibility to a certain types of medical things going on with you if you don't take care of yourself. And so if you come out of balance, then these things are vulnerable to you. So for instance, I said anxiety ran prevalent. Now, lungs were a big issue for me most of my adult life. And so when I went to college, granted that the environment was, hey, hay fever and all that, because I was in a different environment. I grew up in Southern California, but I went to school in Northern California, in Berkeley, of all places. So yeah, I'm a little radical. I don't even say I'm radical. I'm more or less a free spirit, is what I would say. And so I have a friend who jokes about it and says, "Yeah, you and your granola crunch," kind of stuff. I'm not a hippie type, but I am a person who cares about holistic care and how we treat the environment, all those kinds of things. So it makes up who I am, and all that will show up in the chart. Um, but by the same token, it's very important for me to surround myself with people who like transformation in their lives, and that'll show up in my 11th house. The 11th house is the house of, how should I say, your tribe, your community, the people you hang out with. They're not necessarily your best friends, but they are your tribe, your kind of people. If people were to look at my Facebook page, people always say to me, Tomasa, how come your friends are like, so lined up with you? And I'm like, I don't know. I guess I chose them that way. But I'm all about transformation. And so if people don't, show transformation, they're not really people that are called to me, So it's very important. And transformation would be, let's transform our health, let's transform our consciousness, etc. So all of this is important. So in Unlock Your Cosmic Blueprint class, I'm just trying to think. I'm gonna give an example. I'm gonna give an example of my beloved Dwayne. So he actually took the course back in July to August. And one of the things that he began to understand, we calculate your personal number and we calculate your personal day every year. And so I have people wear their colors according to their personal day. And see what it feels like. Actually, the last time I just taught, one of the ladies says, "Oh, yeah, I've been doing that for 15 years." I'm like, goody. And this is not something I just learned from Jin Shin Jyutsu. I've been wearing my personal colors every day since my 20s, because that came from Louise Hay, Your Colors and Numbers. If you look at that book there. And so Jin Shin Jyutsu just took it to a whole nother level for me. But the thing about it is you can look at the numbers. So Dwayne's personal year is a 1, I believe, because mine is a 2. 2 is wisdom, his is, get things moving. And so he's been feeling stuck for a little bit. He probably wouldn't want me telling that, but anyway, he's probably cool with it. But anyway, he's been feeling stuck for a little bit. And so it's like, oh, well, 1. And where is it located in the Jin Shin Jyutsu chart? It's located at the knees. What does the knees do? They get you to move forward, right? If our knees aren't working, it's hard for us to move forward physically with our bodies. We can't walk, right? And so for him, it was like, oh, I need to hold my ones. I need to start holding my ones every day. And so, I could tell him that all day long, but when he took the course, the light bulb went on like, oh, I need to do that. I'm trying to think something else somebody else said. So actually, someone who took the live course back in September, I was just on the phone with her the other day. I believe she travels a lot. And so her ones are important to her. So even though we have ones, maybe somebody has a 1 in their chart, because the Jin Shin Jyutsu safety energy likes to go to 26. So understand that 1 through 9 is the first set of numbers. Those are the body numbers. The second set of numbers are the mental emotional numbers. Those are my favorites. So that will be from 10 to 18. And then the last set, and it doesn't go all the way to 9, it stops at 8. So 26 is an 8, right? 2 plus 6 equals 8. So that's infinity. That's saying we don't need anymore. We're done because we're at infinity. Because it's not about end of a cycle, beginning new, because that's what 9 is about. But an 8 is about, hey, we have arrived. We're at the creator. We're at infinite source, right? And so anybody who has an eight, 8 in Jin Shin Jyutsu is about peace, finding peace, rhythm, and strength. And then I'm trying to think what the other number that's equivalent to an eight in, the 17. So the 17 is an eight as well. 1 plus 7 equals 8, right? And it's on the wrist. And what does that do? That's one of the mental emotional numbers. And that calms the nerves down. So I was laughing because I often teach people and I tell them, and I said, hey, if you're going to, if you ever notice speakers, they might actually hold this naturally. And they don't even know that they're holding this to calm their whole nervous system. And so it's also the point we use to calm people down to go to sleep as well. So it's a very interesting piece, to look at how it all comes together. So, but then you got 8, 26. 2 plus 6 equals 8, right? And so where is that on the body? You cross your arms underneath your arms. And so you just kind of hold that. And so many people actually do this with me. Just cross your arms. And it's just right here on the side of the scapula here. Just cross your arms and feel those eights. Feel that. Feel the, your shoulders begin to relax. And we do breaths. We do 9 breath cycles because I like to use 9 breath cycles because it's about 9 is about end of a cycle, beginning of new. So we're ending that era, whatever disharmony someone had had. And so we're starting a different cycle. And that's what I like. That's why I use 9 breath cycles. And the breath is different the way we do it. A lot of people say we inhale first, then we exhale. Well, in Jin Shin Jyutsu, we like to exhale first. And exhaling is about unloading all the accumulations, the dust, dirt, and grime, whether that be mentally, emotionally, or even physically in our bodies. It's funny for me. One of my nighttime rituals is I can't go to bed until I take a shower. I have to wash away all the energies of the day. And that's especially true when I'm staying in the city. It's funny because I'm out here in no man's land in Tucson. And I'm not in the proper city of Tucson. I'm on the outskirts. And it's so much nature out here. And I don't feel the energies I would feel in a city. So I don't feel the need to have that nighttime ritual. And I can take my shower in the morning now. So it's very interesting what happens. The energy shifts. But just holding this on yourself and breathing, exhale first. All that dust, dirt, and grime, all the way to your toes. And inhale. And those who are taking the retreat with me, November 14th through the 16th, it's in Perkin. So there are some people who have day passes because they live in the St. George area. And then there are people who are coming from northern Utah. I'm trying to think where else people are coming from. I got somebody coming from Boise, Idaho. What else? Anyway, a lot of people are coming from northern Utah. And basically, what it does is they're going to learn the history of Jin Shin Jyutsu, how it came about, how it was brought back here in the United States. And then my story of Jin Shin Jyutsu, because it evolves all the time. Oh, it helped me with that, especially when I had a lung project. I no longer have a lung project. I had a lung project for a very long time. When I went away to college, I had lung issues. And I call it a lung project because when we use the word project, it means that it's something that we're working on that will eventually go away. We're done with it, right? Rather than if I said I have asthma, every cell in my body will respond to me having asthma. So it's going to make sure I have asthma, right? So instead, we say I had a lung project, and I can breathe deeply now. There was a point in time I couldn't hike. I couldn't hike. I was fearful about, dying out there in nature because I couldn't. I was winded, and so I can actually hike. I can do a 6-mile hike, no problem. I probably can do even longer, but I have to get pushed by my eldest child. Usually they're the ones who push me to go further. But it's like, yeah. So it makes your life much more harmonious. And then looking at the charts, you can bring in the chart. I just explained to you about my large intestine energy. I explained to you about my small intestine energy. I guess that's been probably more my gut issues, that have been a problem more or less for me, but also lung issues, and everything is intertwined, because even if it was a lung issue, it doesn't necessarily mean that the source comes from lungs. The source could actually be about the kidney chi. And so I have a yod in my chart that points to Scorpio energy. Scorpio energy is related to the kidney chi of the body. And so it's very interesting because I have people look at yods and stelliums in their chart and they're like, what is that, Tomasa? It's like, believe me, you want to look at them because these are your areas where issues could come up. And so I did find myself doing a lot of kidney flow energy flows on myself. So kidney function flow energy. So there is a lot of that goes on, because it's like, oh, we need to look at those areas in your chart that could present a problem. I'm trying to think, any personal planet we'd look at, and you might say, what's personal planet? You take my course, module 5 has it all laid out for you. What are your personal planets? It even decodes all the hieroglyphics for you. It tells you the energy of every sign. It tells you the energy of each of the houses. It tells you the energy of each of the planets. And then you take that all and you put it together and you have fun. I have somebody who, actually, she's coming. She'll be at St. George with me assisting, and you probably met her, Tammy. Melissa. Melissa came with me to Pocatello, and Melissa is like taken to it, like, wow, this has really changed my life. I remember when I taught the astrology section, and she's an Aquarius, and Aquarius energy would naturally be drawn to astrology. Not all signs will really be drawn to astrology. Aquarius, Sagittarius, all that metaphysical stuff, the stuff that's way out there, will be drawn to it. The stuff that brings us freedom. And that's the biggest thing I can say, is that, we want to be free from our human conditioning. And so, since we were a baby from the ages of 0 to 7, we came in this world and we got programmed, whether we realize it or not. A lot of it's buried in our subconscious mind. And so, when people aren't quite ready for shamanic work, which is something I do as well, and I love that just as much, it's a little bit more intense, and it's in your face. They can go to Jin Shin Jyutsu and they can do the subtle work, because it will bring things up. It will draw things out of people and then bring it to the surface. And then sometimes then people are ready for the in your face shamanic work. And that was the way it was for me. And, that's the way it is for a lot. And that's what I'm kind of bringing it out this way. Like, oh, okay, now that you've done this piece, are you ready for this piece now? Are you ready to do some generational healing and some inner child work? Because this is just like, it's getting to the root, it's starting things out. And so it comes full circle. It's not like you do one and the sequential, it's like you do it all. When I was doing my medicine wheel facility or training, my shamanic mentor would tell people, you need to go see Tomasa. She helps you integrate your shamanic pieces in your body. And so I had a lot of clients from the medicine wheel. And so I never in my wildest dreams thought I would facilitate the medicine wheel. It's something that drops into your lap. It's not like it's a goal, I'm going to do this, right? If it becomes that, then it's not authentic and it's not organic. And so for me, everything happens organically. Even teaching this work has been organic. I had to find my way. I was taught a certain way to teach things, and it's okay, but it didn't bring the spark. But when the astrology pieces started coming out, and I had studied astrology and taken astrology deeper, and I looked at charts deeper, what happens, like, aha, look at that. That person has this going on with them, and it's in their chart. And so it can help you enhance your life bring you to your higher self. And I can say, when I look at all pieces of my chart today, my kid and I discuss things all the time. I travel for my solar return charts. My half birthday. I'm sitting here thinking, I don't know where I'm going for my half birthday solar return. It's coming up in the early December, and I got to figure that out because I've been so busy with traveling to Utah. I was in Utah for 12 days back in September, and then October. My mom actually transitioned while I was in Utah, and I kind of knew that was possibly going to happen. And so a lot of October has been dedicated to family stuff and preparing for my mom's memorial service, and we had that in the middle of October. So, and I'm not grieving. When my father made his transition, I had just started this healing art, and let me tell you, grief sets in the lungs, and so I was in emergency rooms a lot right after my father passed. He transitioned much earlier in life than my mother did, so I think I feel at peace with my mom going because she lived a long life. But my dad, he was only 60. I think he was shy of his 67th birthday. And so when he made his transition, I felt it in my lungs in a big, big way. And so that's how grief showed up for me. And then, grief is about letting go too, as well. So there's so much to share about this healing art. The numerology, because the safety energy locks look at the specific numbers, but each organ function flow is associated with each of the zodiac signs. We can even go into the planets as well. There's so much, there's many layers here. And so, what I'm teaching folks is how to look at your chart. It's a different way to assess things. And just like Chinese medicine, Jin Shin Jyutsu has texture in their pulses. We do listen to pulses. I will probably teach people a little bit of how to do that at the retreat. I can't do that in the introduction course because you're just getting used to this. But let's find the points on your body. Find your destiny number. Find your personal year number. What's your theme? Mine is wisdom. And it's so funny because where the twos are in my body, not just my body, everyone's body, is back near the iliac crest. The iliac crest is, the hip points there. It's just below that. That doesn't do anything for me. But if I looked at a two in the, let's see, 11th, they're on top of the shoulders. 11 is a two. 1 + 1 is a two, right? And so they're on top of the shoulders. The 11s are. And boy, do I need help with my 11s right now because the 11s in Jin Shin Jyutsu mean, oh, I need to get rid of my excess baggage. Think about it. I need to get rid of my excess baggage so I can receive the wisdom and so I can share the wisdom as well. And so this is my number thing for the year is two, wisdom. So it's not just about me sharing wisdom, but it's about me receiving wisdom as well. And it's so funny because to me, wisdom is being able to tune into your intuition. Now, I chose to go to Utah for 12 days in September. I chose that. I wasn't sure how I was going to make it all work. And my boyfriend said, I don't think you should do that, Tomasa. No. Well, I think he was thinking about himself too. And I said, you don't have to come with me the whole way. And so things worked out just wonderful. I came back and, I would not have had helped so many people along the way if I didn't stay there for 12 days. That's honest to God true. Because I kept hearing, Tomasa, you need to go to Utah. They've been asking for more. They don't want to do that stuff all online. They want to see you. And part of me was like, okay, well, maybe you need to go teach at Tammy's studio. Now I got to figure out a place to teach in St. George in Southern Utah. And I believe that is unfolding. I don't know exactly how that's going to unfold, but I did, I'm doing a retreat there. So that's one way. But I know that I think people would like the Unlock Your Cosmic Blueprint course uh, live. And so that's my next thing. Probably February when I go to speak in Sandy, Utah. I will come back to St. George and stay some days to teach Unlock Your Cosmic Blueprint live. So we'll
That's
see what happens.
That is so awesome. It's so beautiful. I actually do have some friends that have their own wellness studios there. So we should chat if something else doesn't open up for you that you've
Okay.
kind of already been looking at. So yeah. But I'm so excited because you really have attended and spoken at and served at so many conferences in the last while. And I know how big of a difference it's making to people. You know, at the wellness studio, the people who were there in your class, I was like, when I saw them, I felt like my heart just swelled with so much love and so much joy and appreciation for you, because I know what a difference that it's making to them in their lives. And so,
Well, well, I have to tell you, one of the things they said to me at the end, of course, and it actually warmed the cuckles of my heart because they said, Tomasa, you're helping us find our community. And I went, I never thought of it that way. And so they're all really excited to get together at the retreat in St.
yeah,
George area. So
it's really beautiful down there. I'm so excited for you. So we'll see you this coming weekend, November 9th. If there is anyone that is watching this right now and you maybe don't have tickets to be able to attend the conference, please feel free to reach out to either Tomasa directly if you have her information, or here's my personal email so that you can reach out to either one of us and we'd be happy to give you a free ticket. Tomasa is one of the generous sponsors of this event, which has allowed us to do a certain number of scholarship tickets. And we are absolutely happy to have you come. We have about 40 vendors. We have, I think there's about 32 classes ish, right around in there. Tomasa, will you take just a moment and let us know what is going to be happening at your vendor booth? If people were maybe only able to come in and come to your class and the vendor space, let's have you go ahead and talk a little bit about what they can expect.
so at my vendor space, what we're gonna do, so we're basically you can come get a cosmic clarity reading from me. Now, I'm only doing them for people who want to do unlock your cosmic blueprint because I don't want to just give that to you and then you go off and you do nothing about it. My job, I would be a better person of service to you if you decide, hey, yes, you know what, I want this. Can I get my reading now? And the answer is yes, you can get your reading on Saturday, but part of it is signing up for the unlock your cosmic blueprint course. So it has recordings now. I've actually done the class. I've taught it this way 3 times, and so now I have full recordings. I had them back from July to August, but I I actually accidentally deleted them, so now I have them. I have them from the last course that I just did, and then the neat thing about it is that you have access to them all the time. So if you want to take this class again and again, you can do that. And that's why I allow people to review it as many times as they want to. I have a very generous review policy. So basically, you can come and get your cosmic blueprint reading. If you want to learn more about other things, you can come and do that as well. I can talk to you about what's happening in St. George, November 14th through the 16th, because I do have a retreat going. And if you live in the St. George area, you can come and get a 3-day pass to come and attend that event as well. Maybe you don't want the lodging, but you can come do that as well. So there's all kinds of things. I got all kinds of activities going on right now. So, and if you want to come and talk to me about astrocartography, I'm willing to do that. I'm more interested in doing more of the specialty things, and so astrocartography is one. I have fun with that. The other one is solar return temporary locations. So I can't do those readings right there on the spot. Those things take time, but if you want to talk to me about them, I'm happy to talk to you what that is about because it does work. I'm a living example of it working. My kid is a living example of it working. Um, Everybody, my friend Bonnie, who lives back east, who kind of stimulated all this, got me to do more astrology pieces. She is a living example of it. A lot of people are living examples of it. Actually, my good friend Edith, who I do house cleanings for, so I do house cleanings as well as a shaman. She will talk about how it has changed her life. Actually, I came back to a table from my mom's services, and my friends were all sitting at the table. I come back and they go, Tomasa, we want to know more about this, solar return readings that you do. And I'm like, what? We're here for my mom's, honor my mom, and you guys are talking about astrology. So that's how it works, right? And they're like, yeah, we want one of these readings. So tell us how we can get that from you. And so it's so funny and it's so cute, but that's what happens, that I can help you with those things. I like doing the specialty stuff. I don't want to do the humdrum stuff, that I can teach you how to do for yourself. But the things that take time that are different, unique, I'm happy to share that with you as well. So, but at my mentoring table, I usually do a lot of readings, and that's usually when I'm busy with. But I have slowed that down. Part of it is because I thought about, I want people to learn how to help themselves, how to use their numerology, and how to use astrology to help them elevate themselves. It's time to transcend, you all.
Yeah. It's so beautiful. Well, I've talked pretty openly about what it did for me the very first reading that I had with you. I mean, I don't know if you remember, it's kind of embarrassing how much I cried, but I cried through the entire thing. The entire thing. It was like 2 hours and it was very thorough, but I have never felt more seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
And I was just really just getting to know you. I really didn't know you super well at the time. And I just have appreciated that more than I can even put into words. And so, yes, absolutely. Lori K says, what a gift you have to share. It really is truly such a gift. And,
Hey, Lori.
so beautiful.
I remember who Lori was. She's been following me on Facebook, and I'm like, oh, that name sounds familiar. I worked on her and Sandy.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Oh, that's so cool. But anyway, I know what it feels like to be on the receiving end of that. And that's why I really desire for other people to have that experience in their own life. It really is, right? Lori K says, hey girl, yes, I had a session with you and Sandy. It was awesome. It's so beautiful.
One of my clients asked me if I was going to do sessions in St. George, and the booths are like so small that I feel like I can't on the privacy that they want. I probably will do it in Sandy again in February, but it's just tough. Actually, she booked a session with me, a private session with me on Friday. So it was like, and I said, do you really want a session? Because we could do that. You could do a whole session if you want. She's like, yes. So, I am available for those kinds of things. I don't want to put myself out there to too many people, but, half people will travel.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it. Well, we can totally set you up in a good spot too that will give you some really good privacy if you'd like that. So yeah, you just let us know what you'd like.
Well, I have to think about that because I am bringing my table because I am working on a client. So if you guys want to do that, and if you guys want sessions, you need to let me know. I can do 20-minute sessions. I'm happy to do that because I think that would be even more, you guys could actually experience the work.
Yeah. I love when people get to experience it rather than just hear about it. It's cool to hear about it too. Don't get me wrong. But when you get to actually feel the difference, it's a game changer. So that's really beautiful. Well, thank you so much for your comment, Lori K. Okay. So Tomasa, I can't wait to see you and give you a great big hug. Thank you so much for everything you do. Is there anything else that you'd like to close with today?
I think that's it. I think I'm going to be doing sessions. I wasn't so sure. I was like, well, I am going to be offering Unlock Your Cosmic Blueprint, but the sessions, I want to do them, but there's not space in St. George. So if you can fix me up, then okay, we'll do it.
We'll fix you up. We'll get you all set up.
I will have Melissa there with me. So she will be my assistant. So there you go.
That is so nice. Okay, well, you guys all enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you next weekend. Thank you so much, beautiful friends.
You too. Bye-bye.